What's up, everyone, and welcome back to Forge Core Gaming. I'm your host, Phoenix, and today we just have a few updates as we take our next step through ILW 2955, aka Invictus 2025, and we have some notes from, it looks like, the Star Citizen Fan Convention 2955 regarding some updates that are coming to the game in upcoming patches. We are also going to take a look at today's war bonds, see what kind of value we have there, and see if they're worth buying. Let's go ahead and get into it. Let's start with those notes from Star Citizen Fan Convention 2955. Now, this is in Mulheim, Germany. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing that, but I don't speak German. Okay, starting off, Jared says the June patch will be awesome. Whatever that means, we don't know, but Jared usually doesn't let us down. I feel like he's our ambassador to Star Citizen. A second note, and this is all come through the Pipeline Discord server, by the way, so if you join that, you can get this information ahead of time. The first glimpse or implementation of engineering, not the full version, just partial implementation, and Firetech will arrive together. I don't have any notes on when that's going to be coming out, but that's pretty exciting, and that is on our bingo card, so there is a good chance of us crossing that off the list. Now, if you're new to the channel and you're not up to date on what our bingo card is, basically I'm doing Star Citizen bingo for the year 2025, where I made 24 predictions as things about things that will happen, or we predict will happen in the year 2025, and if we cross off a straight line of 5 in a row, then in IAE, or during the month of IAE, I'm going to be doing a giveaway, the amount of which is going to be equal to the entirety of my channel's revenue for the month of October, up to $1,000, which is the maximum giftable amount per CIG. Moving on to the next note, we have a new kind of door scanner coming, which denies entry if you're not wearing the proper clothing. An example of an application of this: kill enemy NPC, put on their stuff, and it will grant access. Alright, so that's really interesting. And that's something I think that a lot of people would be wanting to see. I know, picking up armor right now in the game from enemy factions or any faction doesn't have any effect other than just aesthetics, right? It's just cosmetics. But this will actually put function behind armor and takes us one step closer towards the intentions that they have for armor in Star Citizen. Now, the next note goes over how CIG is working on refinery gameplay with updates to station refining coming soon. Further updates coming with crafting and base building. I don't know what kind of updates are coming with crafting and base building. That is also on our bingo card though, so really hoping that we get something of a tier 0 implementation in the verse this year, and based on these notes, I feel like there's a chance. A door hacking and breaching mechanic will arrive with engineering gameplay. Lots of talk about engineering so far. Fire venting via opening doors is part of engineering gameplay, continuing with that trend. Bullet penetration is being implemented for ballistics. I thought that was already kinda in the game. Just yesterday we were running around on my Idris and enemies were shooting ballistics at us, and they were going straight through the hole into the hangar and blowing up some of the ships that we had parked in there. So I don't know what else they have in line for bullet penetration. I know they've talked about bullets penetrating the hull and hitting components. Maybe currently they're not doing that. I don't know. Life support will be added later down the line. Good. I don't think that's appropriate for tier 0 implementation of engineering. I feel like life support is probably going to be one of the more complicated ones for them to get a handle on when it comes to engineering gameplay, so I'm glad they kind of pushed that down. Engineering arrives in tech preview in the PU and not just Arena Commander. The team is close to release it to tech preview. The data is just tweaking now. Okay, I think what they meant is that engineering will arrive in the tech preview in the PU, because it has not as of yet, and the way it's phrased here is that it's already here. Full rebalance of items, health of components, stats, etc. coming. Great. FPS scanning will arrive as a tech preview first, as well as crafting. Okay, so I wonder if the tech preview for crafting and FPS scanning will only be in Arena Commander, because they didn't mention the PU in this note here. Either way, I'm hoping that they at least introduce the tech preview to the PU. PDCs hitting party members is in fact a bug. I think we all kind of knew that, but CIG is now acknowledging that. Hopefully they're working on a fix for that. Ship armor is part of the first engineering gameplay features arriving. Mitigation for the Maelstrom system, mimicking the Maelstrom system before it arrives. Data driven. No real concrete notes there, but still, all right, that's exciting. I know a lot of people in both the Reddit, the Star Citizen subreddit, the Discords, the global chat, whatever. Ship armor is a point of contention for a lot of people because it's going to change a lot of things. Things like for capital ships, size 4 guns will not really affect capital ships once armor's in the game. Size 3 guns will have, reduced effect on large ships and their armor, and so on and so forth, working your way down the line. Ship death is evolving to more boarding and deactivating, i.e. soft death will be more common, and you'll need to board disabled ships to stop them from being repaired on the inside. That's not really anything new. I think we all kind of knew that was coming in one way or another. Yep, hopefully that's going to be coming sooner rather than later. Fires will happen exclusively in the interior of the ships, i.e. no forest fires, no forest fires, etc. Hangar elevators, we all want it. Next patch will be cool, but to manage expectations, we will not have everything solved for that, but we will at least be able to prove that we're on the right track. I'm confused by this line, next patch will be cool. Does that mean we're going to be getting like some sort of tier 0 implementation of it? I'm hoping so, because as of right now, it's very cumbersome to load things into your carrier type ships. Not necessarily capital ships, but ships like the Starlancer TAC, the Asgard. Like we're moving into this ship development scheduled where like all these ships are capable of carrying other ships in one fashion or another, and it's still very cumbersome and unenjoyable raising and lowering your hangar over and over and over again. The ATLS Ikti, the one at Wakelos, is coming next patch. That's massive, so we'll be able to cross that off the bingo list when that gets here, or the bingo card rather. So making great progress so far. And regarding torpedo gameplay, the current behavior of torps is not what they want in the end. Right now they're balanced for the game as it exists today, so they exist in kind of a weird zone. And the idea that they're saying they're balanced for the game as it exists today is a little strange to me. Because in my mind, torpedoes are supposed to be used for difficult to kill ships. They're stronger than missiles. Their DPS numbers are really high, and currently the only ships that they're even effective against are non-capitals, because the capital ships just shoot them down. And as it stands, the Polaris shoots down its own torpedoes. So I think calling them balanced is kind of a misnomer, and it's misleading. So this one is full of false information right there. Lots of exciting points here. I wonder how much of it's going to be coming soon, or how much of it's going to be coming this year at all. But it does look good, if you ask me, that for engineering, because there's lots of notes here on engineering. Now let's go ahead and move on over to our bingo card, and let's go ahead and start knocking off some of the ones that we can. Okay, so the Idris release right here, first and foremost, cross it out. We got that. We did call this a few days before the official release of the Idris. Now, I was already picking up on what they were putting down a couple weeks ahead of time. Orgmates and I have receipts for that, not on the channel, but Orgmates and I were discussing that, it really looked like it was going to happen, so I'm glad I put that on the bingo card. Base building launch down here. It looks like we're going to get this is just based on the notes here. It looks like we may be getting at least a tier 0 implementation of something. Even if that's just in Arena Commander, I will consider that a win. Okay. Now, the Battle Mech release, that would be the ATLS Ikti, will be coming next month per those notes, or next patch, whichever. And so that one we're going to cross off when we get there, but that looks like it is coming. What else was there? The tier 0 of engineering right here. They talked a lot about that. So that looks like 2 rows coming up pretty soon. We're going to be getting, quite a bit of progress on those. More so on this 3rd row here, going from left to right. And so it looks like there's a decent chance that we're going to hit a bingo before SitCon, or by SitCon, because the Squadron 42 updated release date, I'd wait. I mean, there's no way they're not giving us more information on Squadron 42 during SitCon. And then that Drake Heavy Fighter release, that one was one of the silhouettes on last year's SitCon of teased ships. Whether or not it's a heavy fighter is the X factor here, so I don't know. Either way, that's the update on the bingo card. Now let's take a look at the website and see what kind of war bonds we have today. And it looks like all we have as far as CCU chain pieces would be the Constellation Taurus, sitting at $185, down from its normal $200 value, so that's a $15 discount. Pretty okay, not great as far as value for dollar cost conversion goes, but as far as a step goes, I think that's up there. It's pretty high ranking. As far as a step goes, I rank that as an 8 out of 10, because the Taurus sits at that price point where but the ships start getting a little pricey. Okay, so below $200, I think the ships aren't particularly expensive. But after $200, I think they are pretty expensive. And after that $200 price point, you get into, a pretty good selection of ships that have a lot of capabilities and flexibility in what they're able to do. I.e. if you want to go into a missile boat from the Taurus, the Andromeda, you have options like the Vanguard series of ships start becoming more available. The Guardian, the Redeemer is at 330, all sorts of ships. The Mole is at 315. So I know not all of those are terribly versatile or flexible in roles, but there are other ships that are flexible beyond the $200 price point, like the Corsair, which is controversial a lot amongst a lot of people because of the recent nerfs in the past year, and then unnerfs but still nerfed kind of action on it. There are also other ships coming up that are not yet released that are above the $200 price point that are also available in the shop right now, such as the Apollo Triage and the Apollo Medevac. Very cool looking ships. Gameplay not quite there in the verse just yet, that being medical gameplay. They do have some work to do on things like drones and kind of flesh out that gameplay loop when it comes to going out and helping people. Right now it's really not worth your time. It's kind of dangerous because people are sometimes call for help and then kill you when you get there. There's a lot of things that need to be worked out with the medical gameplay loop. Okay, so that's it for the CCU chain upgrade pieces. Let's go over to the shop and see if they changed any of the starter packs or game packages available. And it looks like nope, those are all the same. I believe so, at least. I'm not certain if any of these ones on the side here, so the Intrepid and the Golem, I don't know if those were already here before. I wasn't really paying attention. But as far as the War Bond starter packs go, those are still the same. That's the Avenger Titan and the Anvil C8. Yes, just the Anvil C8. It's not the R or the X. Both for 15% discounts, both with liveries, both with 120-month insurance and armor in there. So those are still available. if you want to get those, or if you're new to the game, or if you're just a collector of starter packs. I don't know what weird thing you got going on. Okay, so that about covers the news for today. I am going to be putting out another video when we switch over to Misk and Mirai Day. That is coming up on the 19th. Make sure you are subscribed though, because I'm probably going to put out a short tomorrow just discussing the war bond on the CCU chain or upgrade page, seeing if it's of good value. Now, if you do want to get that CCU for the Taurus at war bond price, let's just pull that up one more time. Actually, make sure we're crossing our T's and dotting our I's. Let's see here. 185 is the price for the Taurus on Warbond. Your cheapest source for upgrading to that is going to be the Misk Fortune as far as available ships goes. Misk Fortune is priced at 175. The F7C-M Super Hornet Mark 1 is at 180, which would make that a $5 step, but that's no longer available for sale through traditional means. You'd have to go on the gray market for that. But if you go from the Fortune, or the F7C Hornet Mark II, or the Zeus Mark II CL, or the ES, or the Vulture, or a number of other ships priced at 175, then you pay $10, and then you get an additional $15 of value on top of that. So $10 for $25 worth of value. That is a $2.5 cost conversion ratio. Pretty decent. I would say a 7 on the value scale, and then an 8 or a 9 on the usefulness scale for this CCU step. So get it if you're looking to make some big moves as far as getting more expensive ships at discounted prices. Also, be sure to subscribe. Remember, I talked about that bingo card. You only qualify for the giveaway if you are subscribed and commented on at least one video from 2025. Thanks so much, everyone, for watching. Fly safe out there, and I'll see you in the verse. Phoenix out.